Let's go!
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's Thursday, right? I'm recording this for Thursday. Let me get it right today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. To those making fun of me for my geography, former geography beat champ here. Yes, I messed up in what I said. I am very tired. 2 kids under 5. One of the 5-year-old having a hard time end of the school year. I'll take you all on in a Jeopardy game. If we can do some kind of virtual Jeopardy, I will crush you. I promise you that. That is multi-time state champion for academic challenge, for the second in the nation, was the equivalent of first team at Ohio State. I'm pretty confident I will take you. And
I will not take you on.
Now that I've been like aggro, totally not me. So the other things we learned today is we got to cut Shane Bieber because that's like 2 bad starts this month. So we got to cut guys when they haven't been great in a month. Just like Cal Quantrill, just cut him. It's best to move on. And catcher ERA. Do I need to again point out why it's not a real stat? Move on. Small sample sizes, it doesn't work. It is good for comparing catchers, but only if they share the load, which doesn't happen anymore because a catcher typically catches like one guy. He is their guy, and they don't flop who catches them. So yeah, there is that. But I just wanted to kind of have some fun here at the start, call people out. I think that was one of our everydayers, Jesus or Jesus. I don't know how it's pronounced. Sorry, dude. Perez. Could be either way. Who was teasing me. I know it was in good-natured fun, but I figured I'd have some fun with it. Because, hey, it's fun. The Guardians offense woke up for 3 games. We'll see if they can stay there. But this was their best offensive production all year, even better when they faced the single A team that is the Oakland Athletics.
It's the first time winning back-to-back. Second time? Yeah, it's the second time winning back-to-back series of the season. Yeah. It was nice to win a game where the offense kept coming back and back. I mean, that game had
3 out of 4 series now, right? Because the White Sox in between.
They didn't. Did they win that White Sox series?
No, they lost that, but then they won. Didn't they win the weekend before that? I'm trying to think who that.
Well, that was the Mets series, so no, they got swept.
No. Okay, so it was the Twin series was the last one they won, right?
Yes, they won the Twin series. No, they won, and they won the Angel series too.
Yes, so
they won. Hang on, they won 1, 2, 3. They won 4 series in the month of May.
Which, hey, the Pirates are still. Remember when the Pirates were the story of the year and Derek Shelton got a contract extension? That wasn't at all foolhardy. The Pirates now have not won a series in May. So they got that going for them. And hey, listen, again, this was perfect. Like for you and I, you had home runs, which you've been complaining about all year. They attempted to steal 3 bases. How often have we been saying, like, run?
Josh Naylor stole one of them. How about that?
Yeah. Gabby Arias maybe had the hardest hit ball of the year for this team.
Yeah. He also had 2 walks today, by the way.
Yeah, which is what he does. Like he has got patience and everything else.
Yeah, who would have guessed that, by the way? When watching Gabby Arias in the minors, one thing you would never have said watching him is, he's going to take some walks. Like he's adept at taking walks.
He did have that data in the lower minors, in fairness to him.
Yeah, but it wasn't like, I don't know, just watching the film. Like, and we also said, remember, lower minors, you cannot.
It doesn't necessarily translate. But
double A and above, yeah, and double A and triple A, he was more of a free swinger.
And okay, so Miles Straw reached base one time with the walk, and Ahmed again. It's very weird. Is that like 3 games in a row where Ahmed walked? I think we have N times or nigh is what that means.
And he still can't do it. He scored a run, but he still can't do it.
Yeah,
and he screwed Bieber, which we're gonna get to. He did screw Bieber. It's like Bieber had to make a better pitch the next batter, but he screwed him there with 2 outs. That really cost Bieber very badly.
Well, Ahmed is just costing this pitching staff all the flipping time, and he's still there. This
is the Locked On We Hate Rosario podcast. That's what it's become.
We don't. He's a good teammate. He is in a bad role for him right now. He is not a good player, and like
every day though, You're talking about everydayers. Ahmed Rosario is an everydayer because we just keep everyday in our heads because he's running through our heads every day. Like
because
he lives in our minds rent free.
And he's hitting in the most important spot in the lineup by recent research. The number 2 spot is where your best hitter is supposed to be. That is the most important spot in your lineup. You're putting your worst hitter there, and you have a guy who can't play shortstop. And the problem is he literally can't play anywhere else. And
his best asset is speed. That's it.
Yeah, and he's
okay, but he is not the focus today. The focus today is double-digit hits again today.
Double-digit runs.
Double-digit runs is a huge thing. Yeah, I mean, Andres Gimenez, we got to talk about him. He has finally, he has 6 hits in the last 2 games.
He's heating up.
He hit the ball well. He finally looked confident. Now, I wanted to save this for later, but
the Orioles.
I guess we will. Yeah, save that for later. We will get because I want to.
Orioles. We're going to say this: the Orioles bullpen is good, and he did damage against the bullpen. Everyone did. They got in the bullpen early in this because Baltimore. We won't get into the starting pitching, but let me put it this way: like if you look at their just team FIP, it's actually top 10 in baseball. I'm going to tell you, their starting pitching FIP is not. Their bullpen is excellent. They have a very strong bullpen. So, I still think you give him credit.
Yeah, Danny, and Josh Naylor too, because Josh Naylor had 4 hits. He had 3 extra base hits, including a homer, 6 RBI, which is amazing. Win probability headed today of over 500. That's amazing for one game. But 2 times in the series, he hit a home. I think it was a double or a homer off Danny Colombe, who's having a really good year for the Orioles. And then on Wednesday, he hits a home run off of Cionel Perez, who has been really good this year as well. So back-to-back, or this, I don't know, back-to-back days, but twice in the series, Naylor has had an extra base hit off a lefty, so that's huge. He had a great month, really. If you look at it, I know we've kind of complained about Naylor sometimes, or some people have, but Josh Naylor in May.
That's fair.
No, Josh Naylor in the month of May, 5 homers and over 20 RBIs, over 100 WRC plus. I mean, look, his weighted runs created plus today alone, he went from an 84 up to a 99. Like 99. So he went from almost 20 points below average to 1 point below average.
It hasn't been quite as consistent. And then the other killer is he's getting sabotaged because he shouldn't play against lefties. Like that is.
He had big hits this series against lefties, which means he's going to play against lefties more.
I mean, he's never not. But like even so far, like is this my? I want to make sure. Like his 2023 data, his weighted runs created plus against a lefty is a 25. Like pitchers have a better than a 25.
Because
against righties, it's a 102. I understand it is there, but again, process versus approach to steal your line.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying the more he does this, the more he's going to.
I know he's going to. Yeah, but if you were curious, his March-April runs created plus was a 63. It's the 108 this month, and the BABIP went from a 217 to 281, which is more in line, which is kind of what we're saying. There was some bad batted ball luck. He just had to kind of get fully into the swing of things, get into the season proper, and unlike an Ahmed, he's done it. But like this was across the board. Outside of Straw and Rosario, you had to feel really. I mean, Stephen Kwan had a pretty poor game yesterday. He was great today. Like he helped rebound, got himself up to a nearly 100 runs created plus, right?
Yeah. Was it Monday? He had the bad day. I think he had a good day. I think he had a good day yesterday.
I thought yesterday was the 0 for 5er. I could be wrong.
I thought. Let me check. I thought the other day was.
But today was 3 for 6 with 3 runs. 3 hits for Jose, 4 hits for Naylor, 4 hits by Jimenez. And then Gavi reached 3 times thanks to the 2 walks. So that's just, and everybody reached base at least once. Like that's the other thing. Everybody got on base.
Yes.
There was nobody who did not get on base. So that's why they win. And it's fun. 12 runs. And
Josh Bell had a home run.
Yeah, it was frustrating because of they especially when they took the lead and then Santander, the one who got away. He's always going to be the one that got away. He with that home run, but then they just never let up. They never gave up. Hopefully, this is that game that we've talked about, like the one they can start to flip things for them.
Maybe it was the walk-off against St. Louis. I don't know because they hit the ball well. They could have swept this series because if the pitching had been better on Tuesday night, they would have won that game as well because they scored 5 runs. So the magic number for this team has been 4 runs, amazingly. And then, I mean, really, okay. I know this again. This is going to sound like optimistic, or it's going to sound like I don't know that I'm beating the drum. I'm going to sound like I'm what's the word I'm saying? A shill. I'm going to sound like I'm a shill here. But look at this. Go back. Okay, that White Sox series on the road before the Mets series, they could have easily won that series.
They could have won the Mets.
They could have won the Mets. They were in
the
all
Mets.
Those...
They could have swept the Mets. Like what? I mean,
right.
They had multiple blown games. That Mets series, it's just
that White Sox series at home was not super pretty, but okay. The St. Louis series, they won the series. They could have won Saturday night's game. That was all. Well, they only allowed 2 hits. Like, we could be talking about a really nice run right here, despite the fact they've played frustrating. And they end the month 25-30. The Twins are, as we're recording, beating the brains out of the Astros. So that's not going to help them tonight. We shouldn't really be scoreboard watching at this point. But like, all things considered, and I know it's division dependent, right? Because if they're in the AL East, they'd be buried. The season would be over.
They're in any other division. That's probably the case.
I know. But they are where they are, and the division title isn't what they should aspire to, but they are where they are. And if this buys them time to actually like start showing up and doing what they're supposed to be doing all along, then maybe they can become that team. I don't know. I mean, we've talked the last couple of days about not seeing the signs like it's going to happen, but I don't know. I guess I have a little bit of hope after this game, because it'd be one thing if they went out and they won like 12-1, right? Like if Bieber pitched great or well, and they didn't give all these runs. Oh, they won a 12-1 game. But I feel like it makes it more interesting, or more gives you more hope, because the Orioles kept coming back and taking the lead on them. This offense this year, you would have said, it's 4-1. That's the end of the game, right? This game's over. But they didn't. They kept coming back. Remember the White Sox game last year, the Grand Slam? Like, that was when the Naylor game, the 3-run homer and the Grand Slam in the 9th and the extra innings that gave them the win. That was the game where I felt like last year this team was never out of the game. And I don't know. Today was one of those days where I feel like the way the season has gone so far, they could have easily shut down. The game could have been over, and they kept coming back. So rather than winning 12-1, which would have been nice, less stressful, coming back after they kept giving the lead up, and I know Bieber didn't pitch well, and that's concerning, which we're going to get into. But
yep, we'll get into
like punching back. Is a good thing.
Yeah, we'll get into all that after we come back from a quick break and a word from our fantastic sponsors. We love all of our sponsors, especially those who are sticking with us into June.
Well, if you're planning on going to any Guardians games in the month of June, check out the Game Time app. You don't have to worry about waiting until the last minute to buy tickets. The St. Louis series, they had over 90,000 fans that weekend. It was a packed ballpark. I was at one of those games. Couldn't believe the amount of fans they had that weekend. Summer is here. It's June, so a lot of events are going to be happening. Concerts, ball games. Maybe you want to go to the NBA Finals. Jeff, do you know who's playing the NBA Finals? Real quick.
Nuggets Heat.
Oh, look at that. I was hoping to catch you off guard. I didn't actually remember it was the Heat. Remember it was the Nuggets. Whatever you're trying to go to. Forget planning months in advance. Game Time is the place for last minute ticket deals. They have deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. And with the Game Time guarantee, you will always get the best price. They will credit you 110% of the difference if you find tickets in the same section, in the same row, for less. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. 7:40 on Thursday night, if you 7:40 in the East Coast anyway, 6:40 Central, and I don't know, 2:40 Hawaiian time. Check the Sirius
part of the
XM
United
app.
States.
On part of the United States still. Have been for quite a long time. Yeah, check Sirius XM to catch Tom Hamilton and Jim Rosenhaus with the Twin Series, which we're going to get into a little bit later as well. Okay, the Shane Bieber thing. Yeah, I was excited that the team punched back after they kept getting punched in the mouth, which is good. They play a little Rocky Balboa today. I'm not going to really crap on Bieber too much. Like, he did not pitch well, I will say. It was a bad game. He pitched poorly. The Ahmed error did kind of screw him. But all the damage came within 2 outs. I don't know what happened. Like, he was getting 2 outs every inning quickly. And then it seemed like once
he doesn't have a
out,
put away pitch anymore. Like, he is, like I said, he is a rich man's Josh Tomlin right now. Like, he is home run prone. And if, Josh Tomlin to me is an interesting comp, because remember there was that 1 year where he came back and half the season had a K rate over 8 and looked fantastic. And then it all went away and he dropped back to the 6 range. Go compare Bieber and Tomlin right now. It is a little frightening. And I don't know what you do. I do recommend going and reading Zach's piece, because it certainly made me feel like he has never gotten all the way back and healthy over at The Athletic.
No, I don't think he has.
Carl Willis was like, he could throw 92 and pitch 30 games, or throw 95 and pitch 18. Like, Carl Willis made it sound like he is not all the way back.
Yeah, I would need to hear more context on that.
I do too,
sure.
But it's not a good look. That's not a statement he should maybe make, but he made it sound like he is not healthy. And that's the thing too. Like, a statement like that, guess what that also does? That's also going to hurt trade value, because teams are going to be like, is he not healthy? Like, that is, when your pitching coach is implying there's a health issue, that's going to make teams worried.
God, I don't think any team is reading a comment in the news clippings and saying, we can't trade for this guy now.
If I'm a manager and I'm looking at multiple guys and I'm seeing this guy isn't the same guy he was 3 years ago, that is going to be, okay, I already had enough red flags. Connect them all. I might chase Eduardo Rodriguez instead. Like,
he's hurt now too, so good luck with that. So, that actually helps Bieber's case, but we're still hoping this team doesn't have to trade Shane Bieber at this point. But the Tigers may have to trade Eduardo Rodriguez if he gets healthy.
The Tigers are still ahead of the Guardians in the standing.
So I will say, okay, they faced Boston earlier this year, and he had a great start against Boston. Boston's offense is just as good as Baltimore's, if not better. I mean, right now they have a
Baltimore's is better.
Not by stats.
By
right
lineup,
now,
it is.
Baltimore's weighted runs created plus right now 107. Boston 108.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's because. I did a whole thing about how Masaka Yoshida was not a good signing, and that looks dumb. I want to talk about things I got wrong.
Alex Verdugo has been great. Yeah, that offense is good. So Bieber has pitched well against good teams. I just think it was a weird start. His pitch mix to me looked bad. I don't know what was going on, but he threw more four seams. This year he has been usually throwing more cutters. I think the biggest thing for him is the breaking stuff. Obviously 2020, you can't really take a whole lot out of that, if anything at all. But what remember you watching with him is how often he was throwing sliders and curveballs and nobody could touch him. He was throwing for strikes. He was burying them in the dirt and everybody was chasing.
Yeah, that curveball just isn't the same pitch that came up in the
both breaking pitches. I know the slider this year has been his best secondary and he's gotten the most whiffs on those, but he's not striking a lot of guys out. So it's not like that's just his best pitch whiff wise, but it's not a great pitch by a lot of metrics. It just feels like he doesn't have. This is a new trend ever since the injury. And I wonder if there's some stuff with
his K rate amongst guys with his starts, is one of the worst in baseball. And again, that's going to hurt. He's not, someone was like, well, if you're not going to get when you go to trade him, you're not going to get the Castillo, maybe you get the Barrios. I'm like, you're not getting either because he's not missing bats. Teams, especially come to the playoffs, you need to be able to miss bats.
Barrios, as bad as he's been at the time, Barrios was missing bats.
Yeah, and Bieber, I think, is getting you closer to Tyler Mahle returns. I have to be honest, more and more, if he can't miss bats, you're not getting a lot for that guy because you need your studs in the postseason, the guys you want. You don't want Cal Quantrill. Can I say the word? Bieber's inability being one of the worst.
So there you go.
Yeah, well, they both are. But it's Bieber's value is just not there.
If Bieber, be honest.
One of our comments was like, "Hey, we should trade Savali or Quantrill and get us a left-handed bat that'll help this lineup." I'm like, "You're also not getting that." We have to realize that. Look,
what left-handed bat are you getting for that? What are you getting? Are you getting Adam Dunn? Adam Dunn?
You could get Adam Dunn for one of them right now. But even for Bieber, I think we're going to have to lower expectations because his performance is lowered and has gotten lower over a 3-year period. Mm-hmm. And if they don't trade him in this season, this offseason, you're almost getting to the point where it's you might have more value holding on to him and then getting a first-round pick. It might be more valuable to hey, we'll qualifying offer him. Starters get paid in free agency. We're getting to a point where actually Bieber might be here in a year.
That's an interesting take. No, I don't disagree with that at all. Actually, you're right. If he continues, and look, he's been fine. He has not been ace Shane Bieber or 2020 Shane Bieber. He hasn't even been 2019 Shane Bieber.
No,
he is
he's a 2, almost a 3 now.
That's what I was going to try to ask you here. So let me ask you. Actually, let's come right back. I want to ask you that, and I want to ask you about how you feel going in this Minnesota series. So I'm going to ask you about one thing about Shane Bieber when we come back in just a moment. Well, Shane Bieber will not be pitching in the Minnesota series, but you can check out the Guardians and Twins starting on Thursday night on your Sirius XM app. Just listen to Tom Hamilton and Jim Rosenhaus on the call. Just search Guardians on the app. Okay. Right now, where would you feel comfortable starting Shane Bieber in a playoff game? Would you, because, okay, either even the Guardians, let's start this way. God, his K rate is below 20%. That's bad.
6.21. Heading into the day, it's probably even lower.
His FIP is over 4. Okay, let's say you're a contending team. Let's say you are. I'm trying to think who's in first place here. Who's pitching right now that's in first place?
The Rays have a lot of injuries.
Okay,
I brought up the Rays before, and the Mets are the team that.
You are. Well, I think we know the answer with the Mets because you have Scherzer and Verlander.
Yeah.
Let's even say the Braves. Like the Braves, Max Fried's been. I don't know. Any team right now, let's say you are a contending team wants to trade for Shane Bieber. Where is he pitching for you in the playoffs? Is he pitching game 1? Is he pitching game 2? Is he pitching game 3?
I think for
Rays, it's game 3 at least.
Yeah, for the Rays, it's great. Maybe on for the Braves, it's game 2. The
Brewers, it's definitely game 3, and that's if they get if they can get what's the second guy's name back?
Brandon Woodruff, and Peralta's struggled, but he's also been really good in the past.
Dodgers, you have Kershaw, you get Urias back. If you go out and get
the
Dodgers, don't even need him because honestly, if I was the Dodgers, I'd rather roll out Gavin Stone.
People keep bringing up the Dodgers. I don't think they make much sense. The Braves, yes, Bryce Elder has been great for them, but that's kind of a little bit of a surprise. It just brought up AJ Smith. Schuster, Morton is still around. Like, honestly,
he's a third starter on most playoff teams.
Mike Soroka, it's like maybe he's probably a 2 for the Braves. He's not getting over Spencer Strider.
Well, if Max Fried comes back healthy,
then he is the 3. If Fried comes back healthy,
it's Strider, Fried, and maybe it's Bieber. I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
And then Baltimore. Okay, so Baltimore is we just saw them. They're the other team. When I looked at the
maybe his game
starting rotations. He's probably their number 1. Let's be honest.
So that's one team right now. The Yankees, you have Garrett Cole and
he's not the number 1. Cortez hasn't been great.
No,
and Montez is hurt, so he's probably Rondon comes back. Rodon, I should say. But
Blue Jays are hurt by having Alek Manoah stink, but you still have Gosman. That's what I'm saying. So out of all the teams we just discussed, at best he's a 2. Maybe on the Orioles he's a 1.
Arizona has Zach Gallen, so that's a no. You can just go down. The Cubs the Cubs aren't in the playoffs, but they would probably start Stroman. Cincinnati, okay, yes. Colorado, okay, yes. Miami, that's not happening. They're currently
the Astros don't really need them. Yeah, no. So that's what I'm saying though. If you are a team who
not
needs
for Philly,
this is the whole argument. If you are a team who needs to trade for Shane Bieber, you are not trading for him to be the ace of your staff this postseason because he is not. Luis Castillo started game 1 for the Mariners last year in the postseason, didn't he? Or at least it was game 2. But you traded for him to be a postseason ace, and he pitched like one. Shane Bieber is not that guy right now. So that's what I'm saying. Look at the trade value based on that. And for the Guardians right now, honestly, tell me, if the Guardians made the playoffs, I know this is a hilarious conversation to have right now, but if you're really seriously talking about if it's better to keep Shane Bieber on this team because of his value right now instead of trading him, where are you pitching him in a postseason series? Are you sticking with him number 1 because of what's in the heart? Or
I guess for me, it's experience. Like, guys tend to not always step right into the postseason and perform well. And
Bieber was like that his first time too.
Yeah, but he was pretty solid last year. On this team, as of right now, he's probably still there. But I also have to point this out. He had coming into the night, he had 1.1 WAR. His WAR has undoubtedly gone down. You know who has one WAR? Jordan Montgomery in St. Louis, who was acquired last year at the deadline for Harrison Bader.
Right.
You know who else has one WAR? Pablo Lopez, who was traded with prospects to get a first baseman who is all hit
right now.
You know, and Pablo Luis Arez has been a fantastic hitter, but there's no power, there's no walks. You're paying for. He is an above average hitter. He's not a great hitter, and they had to trade Pablo Lopez plus prospects to get
defense, no speed.
Yeah, to get a guy like that. So you look at the guys that he is equal to in terms of his production this year. Harrison Bader, and then a guy who had to be traded with prospects to get Luis Arez. Now, again, right now, Bader and Arez would probably start for this team if they were here. We're not saying you can't get an upgrade, but teams know that and again, in the postseason,
all the data
comes at a positive, comes at a premium, I should say. And I think his value goes down almost with every start right now. And that's why I said it's like to kind of the point where like maybe they don't trade him.
If he starts pitching like the Shane Bieber we used to, and I think it's unfair to expect that he is going to come back to being 2020 Shane Bieber. I don't even know if 2019 Shane Bieber is fair to expect.
In 2020, I'll again say he faced only the Central that year, 2 terrible divisions.
Right.
Some people say that like that's everyone faced. I'm like, no, he faced the 2 worst divisions of baseball. He got fat on terrible players.
Can you get Shane Bieber of last year back somehow?
I don't even know if you can get Shane Bieber of his rookie year back.
Well, he was better last year than his rookie year.
That's what I'm saying.
Last year was his second best year of his career.
I know, but the fact that he has continued to decline,
last year
any bats
outside of 2020. To throw 2020 out, last year was the lowest FIP of his career, and that was with also a declining strikeout rate last year.
But it was still steady. It was still over 8, was it not? Or did it end close to 8?
It was over. It was almost 9.
Yeah,
and that's because he got better as the season went along too. Remember, he wasn't.
But he wasn't this bad. I feel like at this point in the year, still
there was a start last year against the Toronto Blue Jays where he didn't strike out a batter. It was the first time all of his career he didn't strike a batter out. And I said this might I didn't say it was the end, but I said this is some seriously alarming stuff from Bieber right now. And he turned around. He was better because remember everybody kept picking on him at the velocity all year, saying, "Oh, he's not throwing hard enough, not throwing hard enough." And eventually, he never did throw hard. Like, I think 92, 93 was his.
But he was effective.
Now, and he's not throwing any less hard than he was a year ago. The velocity.
The velocity is stayed, but just guys aren't swinging at the pitches. He's not generating any of that.
I really think it just has to be a sequencing thing for him. The command is still there. Like, there are days where he doesn't have the command. Like maybe today was a day where he left a lot.
And again, he talked about it in that great article where he's like, some days I just don't have my curveball, which is another like troubling thing.
He hasn't had it a lot of days. That's a problem.
Yeah. Look, that used to be his best pitch.
And I hate to speculate this because we don't know this for sure, and I hate to accuse this, but it is looking like odd timing that his injury hit right around the time that they cracked down on sticky stuff.
But I will say, like his velocity, his spin hasn't changed.
But he hasn't had the grip on the curveball, and the curveball spin has been down.
Yeah,
I know
so that doesn't want it
matter, but
I will say the sticky stuff doesn't help velocity, and his velocity also dropped.
No, it doesn't.
And I will say, like a year ago, his worst month of FIP came in July at 347. He's over 4 for this year. So like,
he's definitely having.
This
is there. There's no doubt.
He's not an ace right now. Like, and he's not gonna fetch an ace return, and we just need to be honest about that. Which
is why I think you're right in saying it's better to just hold on to him because, like you said, like we just argued, he probably is not a game 1 starter for most other teams.
No,
and if you're not getting that return for him, and if he is still your game 1 starter, if this team finds a way to climb into the postseason, he is more valuable to the team right now. You reassess what happens in the offseason, and you go from there. Like I still think we both agree he's going to be traded in January anyway. But like you said, if this current slide continues with his strikeout rate, then he's not. Yeah, because then the return is the qualifying offer and the draft pick is better than the return. So I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. I'm not like sounding alarm bells from this one start on Bieber, obviously, like because we're not going to take away one start for any guys like Cal Quantrill or Shane Bieber, but there are things to be concerned about.
What they need to do, and we can save this for later. Last time they had, well, I guess when they trade Clevenger, that was straight up. If you go back to Trevor Bauer, There's that piece in the Athletic again. I like that website about how the Reds might have to trade Jonathan India. Now, I don't think they'd want Shane Bieber, but I wonder if we get to the point in the year, is there a world where Bieber goes to another team for prospects that can flip to Cincinnati and you get India?
They have done a 3-team deal with the Reds before. Where does Jonathan India play here, though, by the way?
I don't know. But is he an upgrade? Yes.
No, but where does he play?
The two probably
he plays are occupied with long-term deals.
He's probably first base because he's not a great defender. That's the thing. Like,
but does the bat profile like first base?
Yes. Have you seen what he's? I mean, he's last year was his worst year, and he was like a 95 runs created plus. So, I mean, he's been over 100 the 2 other years. So it's again with this team 100%. Is he better than Josh Bell? Yes.
And I don't know if he's better than Josh Naylor. Like the numbers are pretty in line with Josh Naylor. I guess the OBP.
Yeah, but I mean, again, at the same time, he also gives you some flexibility. Can play a few spots, do that.
Yeah.
But he's a proven bat who is still an upgrade for your team with a 115 runs created plus. And his defensive scores have been pretty terrible at third. He's probably not a third baseman.
Yeah, honestly. Well, it doesn't matter because he has. Yeah, I don't know. All right, this Minnesota series, we got to get out of here. But so Thursday night is Pablo Lopez, the guy we just talked about, who's having a great year, versus Tanner Bybee. That is a must-see pitching matchup. That's going to be fun. The Twins' offense right now, it's
scuffling a little.
Yeah, well, they're blowing out Houston as we're talking, but they are still middle of the pack offensively. A 101 WRC plus. That's 15th in baseball.
Yeah. Correa's having a rough year.
They've had injuries again. Yeah. Friday is officially Aaron Savali and Billy Ober.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes.
Big Billy Ober fan here. So
yeah, Logan Allen and Sonny Gray on Saturday. That's going to be a really fun one. That was a matchup we saw earlier in the year. And then Sunday, neither team has a starter listed. So
what the email we got had Cal Quantrill this morning.
No, it doesn't.
The one I got at 8:30 had Cal Quantrill.
The email that came with the matchups after today's game did not.
Okay, so the one from 8:24 a.m. has Sonny Gray versus Joe Ryan.
That's Cal and Joe Ryan. Yeah, the one after the game did not. So I don't know. We'll see. I would think Cal's making the start only because McKenzie
can probably only go like 3 innings.
Yeah, and Gaddis is going to the bullpen until Saturday. Or until Friday, Saturday when Savali can pitch.
Yeah.
That's Friday. I'm sorry. Is that Friday? Thursday?
He is. Let's see. Savali is Friday. Because tomorrow is Bybee Lopez.
Yeah. So
as you're watching this, the day of this is Bybee
Savali's
Lopez.
Friday. So yeah,
so you'll see Gaddis likely out of the pen tomorrow because
hopefully they
smoke him while you got him.
Well, hopefully they don't need him. Hopefully Bybee gives you 7 strong and you don't got to worry about it. But yeah, so Cal, maybe the starter on Friday. I don't think McKenzie is stretched out enough. I guess we'll find out, and we'll go from there. So is this a big series, Jeff? Do you feel like this is a big series? It is June. It's officially June. So summer's here. We're past Memorial Day. The Guardians are still under 500. They are out of first place, but they are not behind by far. They'll be 3.5 games back after the Astros lose this game to the Twins. So
here's the thing. Like, it's a big series, but the way this division is, you're competing to get crushed in the opening round. Like they're not a good team. So it's a big series, but this is still not a good baseball team.
I think they're all big series.
Yeah.
Because you're waiting for this team to prove that they can follow up on what they did last year and deliver on the preseason promise. So they're all big series from that perspective. But the whole, I think it's a big series in terms of keeping the momentum going and feeling like this offense has finally turned a corner. Not because of who it's against, but because you're facing the best pitching staff in the league right now. And if you can come into Minnesota against this pitching rotation and you can go out and hit the ball and score like you did a little bit in Baltimore, you can feel good about yourself.
They currently are tied for the 8th worst record in baseball with Philadelphia and San Diego, 2 other playoff teams. That tells you what it's like. The Cincinnati Reds are the best team in Ohio, according to record right now. So, they're trying to fight to compete and get back in this. And yeah, maybe they can turn it around. It's just been a very dispiriting year, and maybe that's too much of what I'm showing. But Yeah, I'll be curious to see what happens. The Twins, they did really well against last time. One could have made a case they should have swept that series. We're still waiting on it for a sweep. I'm not going to count on that in a 4-game series with some of these pitching matchups.
Not against the Twins, yeah.
No, but yeah, they are a team. We'll have to still kind of wait and see on what's happening. Today was very positive. I should, put that hat on. Jimenez is hopefully going to turn around. He's probably ahead of Straw now, at least in terms of runs created plus on this team. And, we're seeing a lot of guys move up, and then we're just going to see what they do. They're in a weird, awkward situation with their starting pitching. They're kind of threading some needles, and no one really knows what's going to happen.
Jimenez WRC plus now is...
It was a 70 last night.
It's 81. So, yes, he is ahead of Miles Straw now. He is behind Gabriel Arias, who's at a 90, and...
Gabby should play every day.
Play
Gabby every day. Yeah, that's the thing. Zunino is weirdly just a Zunino. He is Zunino. He's going to be like a 90 by the end of the year.
Yeah, but what's his catcher ERA, Jeff? What's his catcher ERA?
Catcher ERA is the only thing that matters. What does matter is we hurry up and get out of here before we get yelled at for going long. So thank you all for rating and reviewing. Downloading it helps. Make sure you do download every day.
Yes, do.
Get it. We want to get back in that top 100. We haven't been out there in a while. Thank you all, and go Guardians, go.